He's actively trading Forex, crypto, and stocks. And he is the founder of his own enterprises. And he's also the co-founder of QBN. And this project is powered by QBN. He speaks 4 languages, allowing him to connect globally. He may have the 5th on the horizon, who knows? And beyond business, he's a 7th degree black belt in Shaolin Kung Fu. So a reflection of decades of discipline, mastery, and inner work. And thank you, Maher, as we do every week, for hosting the call.
Thank you so much, Shazia, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be here again, and appreciate everyone that's coming around from all over the world. And again, apologies for the small confusion on the time between the UK and the Dallas. I know that here in the US we have that spring forward time where we lose an hour, and in the UK you guys don't. You guys remain.
But it will in 3 weeks' time. So literally on the
will.
last weekend of March, we will synergize back to normal. It's just this interim phase.
Fantastic. Well, I couldn't be happier and more pleased to be doing these sessions with such an amazing woman, an entrepreneur herself, Dr. Shazia Hussain, who has a PhD in education, an author of an amazing book that I'm about 10 pages into it. So far, so good, available on Amazon. And wonderful mother. And you speak several languages yourself. I know you speak 2. You're learning Spanish.
I am, and I'm trying to pick up now through translations in the group. And I did, when I'm in a hurry, I'll reply in English, but usually I try my best to stick to Spanish. So yes.
So pretty soon we'll be able to say you speak 3 languages as well, and catching up to me. So fantastic there. But beyond all of that, what I really love about Shazia is her mindset. And, I always talk about your circle of friends and people, like-minded people that have the same vision, and people that are going to challenge you to do better. And Shazia is one of those individuals. She's always pushing people around her to do better, to continue improving. And that's what I love about her. And when she came to me about these sessions, it was a no-brainer. It was like, absolutely. And to be able to do these sessions and learn from her as well, because she has a lot to offer, and a lot to offer the community and people around here. So welcome, Shazia. Thank you for being my most amazing co-host. And as we come to a final of the 12-session Mindset Matters, while we take a break for now, welcome everybody. And of course, we know what this session is about. Sharpen the saw means preserving and enhancing the greatest asset you have, and that's you. And that's a quote by Stephen Covey. I'm not quoting Marcus Aurelius or Stoic philosophy today. So a quote that Stephen Covey that I really love, that I read a few days ago, is sharpen the saw means preserving and enhancing the greatest asset you have, and that's you. And that's what this session is about. The session is, success is not just about strategy, and it's not about working harder, and it's not just about pushing yourself endlessly. Real success comes from, sustaining your energy, protecting your focus, and renewing your mindset along that journey. And, I have my own quote that I came up a few years ago, and I'm going to share my screen. You guys can see, embrace your journey to success with unwavering determination and boundless creativity. So part of success is enjoying the journey along the way, because if you're always tired, your work's pounding and working hard, you're not really enjoying and the benefits of all that success, right, Shazia?
Absolutely.
And something that, if you never stop to sharpen yourself, eventually you become exhausted. So how many people on this call today are tired or low on energy because you're just pushing, or whether it's today or some time of your life? Type yes in the chat if you've ever encountered a moment in your life where your energy has been drained and you're just out of that energy. And so type yes in the chat, because I know every one of us should be saying yes, because I've encountered that myself, and I've had to really find myself through prayer and meditation. Sometimes you lose motivation when you become that exhausted. You lose clarity. And sometimes you even lose your passion. What am I even doing all this for? So today we're going to talk about how to grow, how to succeed, how to achieve your goals without burning yourself along the way. So let's start with the first idea. And I think we talked about a couple of different topics: avoiding burnout and staying productive. Um, so many people believe that productivity means working nonstop, just go, 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 go. No, to me, that's not what it means. Productivity without renewal leads to burnout. Okay, so without renewing yourself, it's going to lead to burnout. So imagine trying to cut down a tree. So we're using the saw as an example. We today's topic is about the saw. So imagine cutting down a tree with a saw. So eventually that saw is going to get dull. Yes or no?
Yeah.
You know, they keep pushing harder. They sweat more. They get frustrated. But the progress becomes slower and slower. Not because the individual is weaker, but because the tool they're using is dull. And this is what I mean. This is a great analogy. What I mean that when people push themselves to the limit, they become dull. They stop. You need to renew yourself. You need to sharpen that saw. Yes or no, Shazia?
Absolutely.
So
And I think what the analogy you've given is the exact analogy that Stephen Covey gives as well. And it's a perfect one. And that's why he said the seventh habit is sharpen your saw. So going through the others, we'll let you go and do your homework for the rest. But it is at the end, you've got to sharpen it. And you've beautifully portrayed the fact that you keep going, you're tired. The saw is blunt. It's not achieving what you need it to achieve. And many of us feel sometimes we have to keep going. If we stop, we feel guilty. I think
so
that's the point to focus on.
absolutely. And this is what you need to understand. Successful people understand that rest is not weakness. It's preparation. You know, when you take a break, when you go down and meditate or pray, whatever your outlet is, taking a step back from what you're doing doesn't mean weakness. Doesn't mean you're stopping the progression. It's rejuvenating yourself. That's what today's topic is about. Um, from your experience, Shazia, helping them grow. What do you think so many people struggle with on today's burnouts?
I think when we talk about everything we've covered, and we talked about time management and we talked about productivity and all of that, I think what happens is we take on too much. If we were talking about it in the last session, we don't say no. We think we have to be people pleasers, and anybody that comes to us, we just say yes, yes, yes. And we need to learn to prioritize. But at the same time, we've got to think about what am I doing? Is it actually productive, or am I just keeping busy? Because you can keep busy by doing things and keep doing things, but are they having any impact on what you want to achieve? So it all ties back into your goals and what your outcome is, and really filtering what's going to be productive and what's just going to keep me busy. What can I do myself? What can I delegate? I think a couple of sessions ago we talked about the 4Ds. What do I do? What can I delay? What can I delegate? And what can I ditch? And we are too, what's the word? Sometimes we're all about, I need to do it myself because the way I will do it, and then we're not scaling. And that's leading to the burnout. And I know for sure with all the enterprises you have and the way we work, we have to delegate. Literally, guys, about 15 minutes before the call, we had a moment of, it's a blooper, if you like, because of the fact that it didn't clock the time change in terms of here I'm seeing it's still 6 o'clock. It's impacting on the other side. And anything could have happened. If we were burnt out, we could have snapped, we could have got cross, we could have cancelled the call and made the wrong decision. However, we learn to go with the flow, and it's about keep going. And I think that's what we call natural synergy, when you have to just adapt in the moment, and that's what you learn when you sharpen your saw.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we successful people, as Shazia and I do it all the time. We adapt, because situations are going to arise. Nothing is perfect. And, going back to the mindset and motivation, motivation is not permanent. It needs to be renewed. So it's just like a battery on your phone. It needs to be charged. Most successful people renew themselves before they reach the burnout, because we don't want to get to that burnout. So let's talk about a few things. I can talk about a few things that I do. Shazi, you can share a few things that you do to renew yourself. A lot of people like to read. You know, I'm more of an audiobook because I'm in my car a lot, so I like to listen to audiobooks. Is a great outlet for me to renew myself. A book
Just a
that's
few
going
tips
to
I thought I'd share as you're speaking, just make it a bit more visual. So we do lots of things, like you said, we read
beautiful.
books, exercise. I know Maher exercises. He gets onto his
Yes, yes.
push-ups. It doesn't take long. He'll remember I need to do my push-ups. He eats well. I can tell you a lot of the things that he does. He eats well, he eats clean, regardless of whether I'm having chips sitting next to him. He will not touch a chips. He's so disciplined in what
No,
he does. He's got a perfect sleep pattern. He is the perfect avatar for sharpening the saw. I'm not as perfect as him because I will still go unhealthy. My exercise is not as disciplined, getting there, but I know that he does. He meditates. He's
yeah.
always showing gratitude and reflection every day. He's very spiritual in that respect too. So a lot of these, and he keeps learning, reading, and the creativity, finding those opportunities. If cooking is what's going to help you rejuvenate. I mean, I had a busy day today. I was invigilating the exam. It was online. They were 19-year-olds doing maths. As I was invigilating, I did a bit of cooking alongside, so multitasking. So it took mind off. But it's about how you manage yourself for sustainability. Otherwise, you're kind of do one thing at a time can be quite stressful, and that doesn't help, does it, Mahir?
Not at all. And leave this up for just a minute longer because don't sell yourself short. You do a lot of these things. I know you're always learning on that mental side, especially. You're always learning. You're always reading. You're thinking, creative. You're growing your skills. You know, I know that a lot of these things that on this screen you do as well. And yes, and exercise for me, I'd like to say that prayer is the number one thing for me. My prayer is where I regain my energy and my purpose. Is where I focus on life. So and it could be a multiple things. And you're right, I do almost all of these things on this board.
Yeah.
Exercise is a really big one for me. Whether I do it at home or at the gym, every single day, 7 days a week. And my wife is on this call. She can testify. I am working out, whether it's push-ups and crunches on the floor, twice a day or at the gym. That is something that has become part of my life. I'm 58 years old. I feel amazing because of it. And I'm going to continue doing it. So these are the things. So when it prepares me to work for everybody on this call, when you do these things up here that are on this board, it's going to clear your mind. It's going to rejuvenate yourself. Uh, Eating healthy, that's a big one.
And
It's not just,
you're Maher. I haven't seen someone as healthy eating as Maher. He even to the extent that he will only drink water. And I'm
I only drink.
testifying from witnessing it. And even I'm now drinking more water, but on the
Good.
odd occasion, I will still have a fizzy drink. So I've transitioned. But it's true.
Yeah.
You're an
15,
example of this.
15, almost going on 20 years, I only drink water. I don't drink juice, soft drinks. Of course, I don't drink alcohol, but the water is my only liquid intake. I drink 1 cup of green tea in the morning, and sometimes it's just chamomile. So my entire day is just water, 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 water. And, we're made of water. The world is made of water. And so water is life, and so water has been amazing. It's been a big blessing for my health and my continued mindset growth. This is another slide you have here.
Yeah,
Why
I
don't
just
you
had
talk?
two. I like the two different gentlemen. I think the one was sort of relaxing and lying down and rejuvenating, and this one was sort of sitting up and reflecting with a shore analogy. But I guess here it's a family and the community, I think, that brought it because sometimes we neglect our community, we neglect our family because we're busy. And I think it's really important and to remind ourselves that time doesn't wait for anybody, and we talked about that many times too. It's the only, as Maher says, people freedom of time alone. It's not just that; it is about protecting and keeping your energy sustainable too. There's no point having time, and then you don't have the energy to do anything. So these are all the learnings that we've pulled together, and I'm remembering all the conversations we've had.
Yeah. Yeah, another one is surround yourself with positive people. we talk about your circle of friends every single session. We talk about your circle of friends, and my kids are. I know two of my kids are on this call right now. I'm always talking about your circle of friends, but your circle of friends doesn't help just promote you to your next stage of life or empower you. Um, Being around positive people helps you rejuvenate as well. So there's a lot of benefits about your circle of friends, a lot of benefits, not just for your mind, but also for your body and rejuvenating, because we talk about energy a lot, and negative people drain your energy and bring you down. So, you're around somebody that's always arguing, at the end of the day, you just feel drained. And if you reflect back, it's like, oh, I was around this individual. I can see why. So try to be around positive people, and I think that's a big one for me too. I'm always around people that are happy, that have a great sense of humor, and I think that's really important.
And I'm going to take a liberty here. Just some of them probably don't know, but when we were in Barcelona
Hmm.
and we were really busy with the event, and as you all know, no one actually knows what's going on behind the scenes, but a lot
Right.
goes on. And do you remember, Maher, we went to the beach, and it was just a trigger of having a race. And then we did have the race, and it was about
Yes.
having that fun and that laughter in that moment.
Yeah.
I came last. I will be happily admit that I was last in that race. But it was not about the winning. It was about the participation. It was about recognizing that age is only a number. And I remember we had that conversation when you talked about the corporate team and that you and Tariq and still they love a bit of competition, and
Yes.
and I think that's what sharpens a saw as well, that you work hard and then you play hard. And I think that's a message for everybody that it's really needed. Do not phase from it, but find the right balance.
1,000,000%. And so I see that Marcus joined us. And so I think this would be a great time to bring in somebody that I met several weeks back. He's joined several of our sessions. Um, and so, Shazia, if you found him, if
I'm
you.
going to spotlight him and I'm going to take a back step so that
Hey,
everybody can see
Marcus.
him.
So let
Hey,
me.
how's it going?
Fantastic. So this is Marcus Lee Stevenson. I'll go ahead and edify him here a little bit because he's an amazing guy, such accomplishments. Marcus is a graduate of Texas A&M University in mechanical and electrical engineering. He's an actor. He's a motivational speaker. He has a talk show host. He's an award winner, and he's the founder of Reinvented Award Gala. He's also the author of these two books that you see on here, Still Dad After Divorce and Reinvented, from Broken and Empowered. So, Marcus, we're so grateful to have. Let me stop sharing the screen. There we go.
Oh,
Marcus, we're so
thank you.
grateful to have you here today. And I know you were on another Zoom call, so I appreciate you jumping
Yeah.
on. But today's session, I kind of gave you a little update on what today's session was about. So let me ask you a question. In your journey, what helped you stay strong mentally when life forced you to reinvent yourself?
For me, honestly, it was a lot of pain. And even though the stuff that tried to break me didn't break me. And I think what God was telling me, my purpose was bigger than my story. And it was bigger for me to allow and to help other people. It became when I figured it out that it wasn't about me anymore and about helping others and that my story may be their story. So, what true advice can I give them if I hadn't walked that path? That's the purpose of the books. Everything almost everything is pretty much like nonfiction in everything I do um, from mentorship, from being focused, from being driven. And it's been times where I didn't know to turn left, turn right, but I know I had to keep going mentally. The main thing is keeping my mindset strong because if I allowed my mindset to get weak, I would have got weak. And those times, those days were really tough. But I said, I'm better than that. I'm stronger than that. So I'm not going to let this mishap take me down, whether it's in relationships, jobs, friendship. I knew I always know that I'm stronger, and I have to keep telling myself I'm stronger, I'm better. And I know we all heard that old saying about sometime if you're not the smartest one in your circle, get a new circle.
Yeah.
So I've been blessed to meet bigger people in my circle, like even you, Mahir. And it's just one of them things you have to believe in yourself more than someone else will. Because if you don't show it, they not gonna see it.
Fantastic. That's amazing. And I appreciate you sharing your story and congratulations on all your accomplishments. And I know I said I was just going to ask you one more question, but at the beginning of the
Okay.
session, we're talking about uh, things that we do to renew ourselves, to resharpen that saw. I gave the analogy earlier today about sawing a tree down and eventually becoming dull, and it becomes harder to saw that
Hmm.
tree down. You have to take a break and sharpen that saw. And we talked earlier
Hmm.
about things that I do, like exercise and prayer. Are there certain things that you do to rejuvenate yourself, renew yourself when things are stressful?
Yes, it's for me since I'm a country boy, and a lot of my friends know this. I was raised in that era where you feed a pig and you slaughter a hog, and that analogy is pig you're gonna keep feeding, and once they become a hog, what you gonna do? You're gonna cut them up, get rid of them. So I'd rather be a pig in knowledge and learning, because if I'm not learning something, a different way to go home, a different way to cook something, anything, I have to keep getting up. It's like I can sit in the bed all day and dream, but if I'm not doing anything about that dream, um, it makes a difference. You're the last one, Mahir, you was talking about your discipline, because you and I both have a martial art background, so I understand
Yes.
the discipline. And it took me back when you said you was getting up at 4:30. I said, man, okay, I'm slipping. So now I get up at 5:30 and exercise. I'm not at 4:30 yet, but I'm at 5:30. But I do get up and exercise. And I said I got to get back to the basic of discipline and how we was learned or taught in martial arts and everything else. And that's part of life itself. We have to be diligent on what we're doing and how we do it, because it's not gonna sit on the counter and spoil. I'm gonna make sure of that, because I'm gonna make sure I'm moving it all the time.
That's amazing. Well, Marcus, keep setting the example, keep helping others. We love what you do. Congratulations on all your accomplishments, and so happy that you were on this call. And I look forward after this Ramadan is over to getting together with you and continue learning from each other and growing our
Yes,
relationship. So thank you again, my
yes.
friend. Have a fantastic
Oh,
day.
thank you. Oh, you too.
Shazia, you
Just
back with
bear
me?
with me, just adding, so we've still got people joining the call. So
Oh,
wonderful.
fantastic. Yeah, it's so great to hear from Marcus and the things that he does,
Absolutely.
setting an amazing example. So, Shazia, let's talk about building long-term success without exhausting yourself. So many people treat success like a sprint, like it's a marathon, but I'm sorry, real success is a marathon. People treat it like a sprint. And so it requires pacing, right? So you've watched, we watched the Olympics or these long marathons. You have to pace yourself because you don't want to burn yourself out at the beginning. So uh, achieving your goals sometimes requires pacing and consistency and the discipline that all three of us, Marcus, you and I have been talking about. People who succeed long term understand something very powerful. You know, you don't need to move fast, you need to move consistently. And
Yes,
consistently beats intensity every day of the week. Yes or no, Shazia?
absolutely. And if I go back to what I said at the beginning, when last year Ramadan, I made a decision to lose weight, and I could have gone down that crash dieting route, and then I'll be yo-yoing. And I did a weigh-in. Yesterday, yeah, today, and I've lost 22 kilos. So I mean, 22 kilos is quite a significant amount because all my clothes literally are redundant now and I have to go shopping. I mean, that's a good thing, but it wasn't, it was more for the health side. I knew that we had a history of diabetes, blood pressure, and I knew something had to stop, something had to change. I didn't mean I changed, I changed a lot of things, but I still enjoy the foods I like. And Maher knows the type, I do enjoy our traditional, quite fatty foods, but it's everything in moderation. And I think you've got to be able to do it to sustain, because if you can't sustain it, you know how people go on the keto and all of those sort of diets. And then that's where your sprinting comes in, because you're fit for an event and then you gain it back and you're yo-yoing. And I think what Maher you're saying is absolutely true. No matter what you do, you've got to be consistent. It's better to do less and frequently. I mean, same thing I did with my NLP. I signed up last year. I'm going next week on the practitioner in June, master practitioner. I had a home study to do. I used to think, how am I going to finish these 2 books? There they are, the workbook and the open exam and the audios, the number of hours, and on top of everything else that I've got to do. But it was finding that time in my schedule where I had to slot it in. And if I don't slot it in, I will not do it. So for me, Maher, the consistency comes by scheduling. Otherwise, it doesn't happen. If I schedule, once I've written it down in my calendar, every morning I wake up to see what do I need to do, I will do it. It will be sequenced. And that's been, I think, the game changing for me. And even with exercise, it's something that I can sustain, like power walking, the 10K steps. That was what I started. Now I need to bring in the weights, because I feel that the muscles now are needing to be pumped a little bit, but it's starting. And I think you just got to start. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't say I'll do it tomorrow. I think you just got to get up. Mel Robbins, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up and start. Just like in Sahur in the morning when the alarm's going off and I can't wake up. And I just have to, even in Arabic, if I say something like "Auzu billah," or "Minash shaitanir rajim," I wake up. It's that time. The short. It's still one. It's still 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's just not said as 5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Yes.
and it makes me get up and I get on. So for me, that's the tip. Do not delay. Decide and just start straight away, and then keep going. The 60 days and 90 days, it becomes a habit, and then you'll be addicted. You don't want to stop.
Yeah, and we went off on talking about habits. You guys, a lot of you people on this call have heard about the book Atomic Habit. There's another one called The Power of Habit, which is the one that I read. I haven't read Atomic Habit, and I'm going to read it after I read your book. But congratulations on your weight loss and your accomplishments and what you've done. And so, when I started training with my trainer, I've been training martial arts for over 35 years, but in the gym, I hired this trainer. His name is Mark Coleman, and he works with a lot of professional athletes, on especially sports level. I've been training for 20 years, and we've become good friends. But I remember him telling me on day one when I hired him and I first met him, he said, "Maher, if you're not taking care of your diet and you're not getting your rest at home, don't spend your money on me, because you're not going to accomplish your goals." So it was a group of, and I said, I got that part done. I just need the exercise part to strengthen my back and my core. And we've done amazing work since then. But it's not just one thing. It's a combination of things that, for me, at my level, helps me rejuvenate myself. So it's not just prayer alone, but it's a combination of the prayer, of everything you had on that slide, Shazia. It's if everybody can take a little bit, and you don't have to focus on just one thing, but take a little bit of everything. Start with baby steps. Start if you drink soft drinks, if you drink 5 a week, reduce down to 3 or 2 or 1 a week. I know that a lot of people here follow the Christian religion, and you have that in Spanish we call it la cuarentesma, where you give up something for 40 days. And so, in Ramadan, we build that habit by giving up food and water throughout the day. That's when you start building these little these strengths and knowing that you can do it. You can actually do it. And so the emotional part of this plays a big role as well. So it's not just about your body, it's about your mind. So it's rejuvenating your mind. So it's a combination of the things that creates the success and creates the good habits. And basically that's what's going to keep your mind is your greatest asset. So, that's what's going to keep you sharp. And that's when everything becomes easier. So
I'll just add to what Maher said. For me, I think it was visualization as well. So giving the example of the weight loss, there was a lot of visualization of being healthier, being the future, what it could look like if I don't stop doing what I'm doing. But also, come on, ladies, we all want to fit into that nice black dress. So it's finding the right motivational hook for yourself. Just like guys want to have the six packs and they'll have those pictures up to motivate them. So you've got to find what works for you. What's going to be that key driver for you that's going to keep you going, that's going to remind you why you're doing it. And they say, the saying goes, if you can't love yourself, how can you love others? So you need to learn to love yourself because you're doing it for yourself. But at the same time, you're naturally doing it for your family. Because when you are going to be in that state of mind, body, soul, holistically present, you're going to be teaching that to your family, you're going to be teaching it to your children, and they're going to benefit from that. That you're not going to be that irritable, snappy person because you're not eating correctly and you've got too many additives in your diet because the packets of crisps and the fizzy drinks that make you sort of crumble at times. And it teaches you patience as well, I think, with whatever you do. And then you then truly believe that you've got mind over matter. You can really do anything you put your mind to. And Maher, it does make a difference who you hang around with, because if you are associating with people who are consistently having what's the word, cheesy chips with beans all the time, you get tempted. We all get tempted. We're humans, so we've got to find the balance.
Absolutely. And a goal, you said six pack, but that was a goal that I had. I turned 58 in January, and I said, you know what? How many 58-year-olds have a six pack? And so I'm gonna, I have these crazy goals. And so I said, this is gonna be my goal. And I'm not to brag, but I'm proud to say that I'm there. I'm there. And so I can I know that my daughter Alia is on this call. She's like, Dad, oh my God, Dad, what are you saying? But yeah, it's I'm setting the example. I'm telling my kids, if I can learn another language, so can you. If I can get a six pack, I got the body that I have at 58, so can you. So what I do is for myself, obviously, for my health and my mindset, but also setting an example to my kids and other people around me. I know when Tariq and I share rooms and I come down and do push-ups, he jumps off the bed and goes, "How many are we doing?" And so it becomes a competition, and we're doing 100 push-ups before we go to bed at night. At 1 or 2 in the morning, whatever it is. So again, that's amazing. Shazia, as we're wrapping up the call, today's the last session of the 12
So
sessions.
it's the last session for now.
What are we doing?
We will come back. We're going to sharpen our saw for 1 week. So we're going to take next week off. Reason being, it's also the time difference. So we'll catch up back soon with the correct time difference. But also we have some celebrations coming up next week. And so it will just give that 1 week, sharpen the saw. And then we'll be back on the 25th of March. We'll be starting with the Empower Her stories. I might need Maher's help with Spanish translation because we've got to be inclusive. So I've got a list and we're going to try and go through that. Every week we will have a power talk, Empower Her story a bit more. We'll structure it so I'll share like the structure so that we can kind of share what people want to hear. But it's not about success in business. It's about success in anything. It could be when you're invited on, you could talk about, whatever that's made. I mean, it's in your view, what does success look like? And for me, it used to be a job. My job was my success. Climbing the ladder in my career was my success. Before that was getting a degree was my success. So there's success means different. I think we need to stop perhaps sometimes feeling that I've got to be at a certain point. No, it's about what have you done in your life that makes you proud and can inspire another individual to take that step. So
when are the Empower Her sessions?
25th of March, we will restart. The first one will be, it's going to be 6 p.m. UK time. And then I think the week after we clock over. So we'll do kind of like a soft start on that week. It will be 1 p.m. in Dallas, 6 p.m. in UK. We'll try and stick to that time. Okay. But I'm incredibly proud of everybody on that short notice, Maher, 25 people. And the fact that we put in 10 minutes, that we're 1 hour. I'm sure some are going to clock in at 6 o'clock still. Probably. And then we'll come back with mindset again. We'll change the theme this time. If you've got any suggestions, please do share. These are for you. We want to have impact on you guys. We want you to benefit.
So as we wrap up today's call, any last words, Shazia?
I'm just going to say thank you very much, everybody. It's been an amazing experience. I love the fact that we've had regular attendees. Next time, Maher, we might put a little bit of a prize in for the regular attendees. Maybe we can do a raffle and a giveaway, because I think it's great. Thank you to Marcus for joining us and sharing your story. It has been an honor to have you on the call as well. And thank you to everybody. And I can see consistently names that I see pretty much every week. But if you're all up for it, we can turn our cameras on and do a selfie. I always like pictures to put up. So I'm going to remove us from the spotlight so that we can open up to everybody. At the moment, there's a few, but if you're all up for it, we could do a selfie.
Let's do a selfie, and I'll give the final goodbye here in a second. Let me know when you're ready. Cheese.
I've taken 2.
Fantastic.
I'm going to take one more. Slowly and gradually. Nice to see you, Alia. Just got Eileen joining now. I've got Louis. Thank you, everybody. All the cameras are coming on. So there's Carlo. Catch a few. And I think, Maher, they're ready for your final closing now.
Spotlight me back again.
There you go.
I want you next to me.
There, I'm coming
All
on.
right.
Oh, we're playing a hide and seek now. There
we go. All right, guys. As we come to finish today, this is what I want you to remember. Growth should strengthen you, not destroy you. And success should elevate your life, not consume it. So when we learn how to renew our mind, protect your energy, and sharpen your focus, you don't just achieve success, you sustain it. Okay. So again, thank you all for joining us on this. Thank you, Shazia, of course, Marcus. And remember this, success is not about pushing you until you break. It's about growing with wisdom, balance, and purpose. And I'm going to end with this quote by Jin Rohn. Take care of your body. It's the only place you have to live. So
absolutely. And I love Jim Rohn too. And we look forward to seeing you again. And anybody can join the Empower Stories.
Yeah.
Yes, there are stories of women, but guys, you are the enabling environments for us. And therefore we need you there as well to support and be there. So we look forward to
empower her on
25th of March. So it's in a fortnight today. Posters will start coming out. So watch the space.